We are so close to a big win for the cows. The fiscal act will soon end the 80-year-old cow's milk mandate and pave the way for a fairer food system that honors choice for all kids. Millions of cows are producing milk that is being mandated onto lunch trays in schools across the nation. Along with the canned corn and soggy French fries, millions of unopened milk cartons are being tossed into giant trash bins when the cafeteria lunch bell sounds. And that is all about to change. Introducing the Justice Tour. This is an exciting new education initiative that will enlighten middle and high school students on how a dairy-free lifestyle supports health, compassion, and human performance. Policy change has merely paved the way for us. It will take dedication to drive real change. And that's why we're hitting the road in 2026. We plan to bring powerful, science-based education about health, performance, and dietary justice to school dietitians, district leaders, students, teachers, and parents nationwide. And your continued faith in us fuels our movement toward a future where every child can thrive without dairy and cows are spared unnecessary suffering. We want you to learn more about the Justice Tour and why we're taking this life-changing message on the road in a very cool, brand new VW ID bus. It's totally electric. Let's map a future where free choice for kids means freedom for cows. Go to switchforgood.org/justice-tour. We'll be sharing more details, but we want you to help us blast off in 2026 with this nationwide tour with a generous year-end donation. Help us build gratitude, help us build momentum, help us change the future for kids and cows. The power is in our hands. Go to switchforgood.org and make your generous year-end donation now.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Dotsie and I are super excited to get right into a conversation today with our guest, because not only is she a supermom, but she's also going to be an inspiration to all of you who feel stuck in a rut. Alishea Basson is a mom of 5 kids ranging from 1 to 17 years old. And while raising these kiddos, she embarked on a remarkable health transformation. At just 30 years old, Alishea was obese and dealing with severe migraines, sleep apnea, hair loss, high blood pressure, and even a seizure. Instead of taking medication, though, she decided to educate herself on what healthy eating truly looks like. A few plant-based documentaries later, Alishea decided to adopt a whole foods, plant-based diet. And that was back in 2017. 8 months later, her ailments were gone, her energy was through the roof, and she had lost 85 pounds. Now, a whole 125 pounds lighter, she's living her best plant-based life and helping others do the same. After you listen to this episode, you have to watch her videos on Instagram. But first, welcome to the show, Alishea.
Oh, thank you. That was such a warm welcome. I'm like, that feels like a blur. All those things.
It's you.
It's nice getting a little refresher course. It was like, man, that did happen.
Well, we're going to unpack it for our audience because it's a story that really people need to hear. When I read about it, read about you and your story that you wrote on the Forks Over Knives website, I was immediately excited, and Dotsie and I wanted to have you on the show. So let's get started and start with, well, where you started. You've lost a lot of weight, but for the first 30 years of your life, you were overweight. So tell us a little bit about what got you there and the food you ate, what kind of lifestyle you led.
Okay, so I had a I don't want to say very typical, but like I adhere to the standard American diet. Nope. Southern American diet. Oh. There's a difference. I got to throw that Southern in there.
Me too. I grew up in the South. Yep. I know what you're talking.
I ate everything deep fried in very large portions. I didn't wrap my mind around what I ate, how it affected me. I just ate what was presented to me. The lifestyle I led was the one that was given to my grandmother, that she gave to my mother, that she gave to me. And I just went with it. I ate vegetables, but they were literally like an afterthought. They were never the center stage of the plate. They were just to the left, and like you take it or leave it. You know, you kind of got to eat the green thing because Granny said so type deal. My diet was really bad. Just heavily processed food, dairy, lots of cheese, and that's just what I ate because I felt like I didn't know anything else. So when I had my first child when I was 17. So that's when I had that's when I really started listening to doctors telling me that I needed to watch what I eat. They had always told me I needed to watch what I eat because I was always overweight. Like whenever I went to the doctor, they would tell me that my BMI was too high, that I went from being overweight to obese to morbidly obese. So they always talked to me about my weight. But when I was 17 and I was pregnant, they kept talking to me more about my diet. And while I didn't take the advice, I did hear them. And I heard them telling me to limit certain things and increase the intake of other things. I didn't listen to the advice. I didn't apply it, but I heard it. And that always stayed in the back of my mind. And with my first pregnancy, I gained 60 pounds. And with me being already overweight, that additional 60 pounds took me into that morbid obesity. And then I had another child and another one and another one. And I never lost that weight. After I had my second child, I had my first seizure. And that's when I kind of had a real wake up call. So I was eating, a typical day for me was like 2 butter croissants in the morning with some cheese, turkey sandwich, chips, bunch of Hostess cakes in the middle there, and then something fried, deep fried chicken, macaroni and cheese. And I started to notice that I was having an aversion to like carrots. That's where I really started to think something's not right with me because I loved carrots growing up. But as I was getting deeper and deeper into this processed food, I was having an aversion to vegetables that I actually liked. And that was the point where I was like, oh no, I can't do this. I can't keep doing, like that had me thinking something's not right with me. Like that brought my awareness to my body that how can my taste buds change like this so fast for nothing? So the real spiral down the well, this was my rock bottom moment. So my husband, I was like, I want Popeyes. And he went, we had the whole typical husband-wife transaction when you're going to get food. How much do we get? How many biscuits? Do we need another order of biscuits? Like we went through the whole thing. And he was like, we'll buy 11 pieces and get 11 free. And I was like, oh, that's a good deal. And he says, well, it comes with 4 biscuits. I'm like, but you're gonna need to order 12. At that time, it was just me and him. My oldest child at that time, she was about 13, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. All that food, that was way too much food for that little bit of a family.
Right.
So what I ate that night, I had 7 pieces of chicken. And I'm not talking little pieces. I'm talking breasts, thighs, big meat, and 7 biscuits and a pint of Haagen-Dazs. And immediately after eating it, like it was so satisfying, but right after eating it, I felt disgusting. And I went to bed and I'm like,
you hadn't had that feeling before. Like for some reason this time it just really sit in.
Clicked. It never clicked until that, like I felt disgusting. Like I had that disgusting feeling before, but the next day was different. Because I woke up the next morning and I was laying in bed. I actually have a picture of myself. I snapped a selfie that morning. And I was just like, I never want to feel like this again. Like, I don't care what I have to do. I don't care how far I have to go, what I have to give up. I don't want to feel like this again. Now, mind you, at this point, I was 277 pounds. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I had a seizure. My hair was falling out. And I had 4 kids. So, yeah. I was on my hands and knees going up my stairs because I was getting winded walking up the stairs in my house. Like I was literally crawling up the stairs.
Oh dear.
And I was like, this is not okay. Like I can't do, I'm only 30. And I had like, you talk yourself out of it, like you're accepting, you're like, oh, I'm just getting older. And I'm like, no, this can't be where I'm going. And I honestly remember feeling that morning, I felt like I was accelerating myself to death. Like I was like mashing the gas to my own demise. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to do something.
Can we stop here just before, because I know that what you did next is this big chapter of your life that is so huge. Can we just unpack a little bit about your eating before, so that, because I think our audience can really relate to having a dinner and just feeling terrible the next day. But you've mentioned that you were a binge eater. Can you share with us was this a binge, or why was your eating like this? Why do you feel like you got into a habit of eating like this and not exercising?
So my mother never exercised. So I never saw it being modeled to me that exercising was a normal part of people's lives. I just thought it was something you did in PE. So I never saw that. As far as binge eating, so typically in my family, like eating is around all big events. When you're mourning, when you're happy, when you're sad, when you go to church, like literally it's everywhere. And coupled with that, I took my family's like gathered eating as like, that's how I would cope. So I would emotionally eat, and I would try to fill up my feelings with food. And I learned that at a very, very early age. I'm talking like 6 or 7. I learned to fill myself to an uncomfortable place with food to deal with my emotions. I got a whole backstory on that part, but there was a whole reason why I did that. But I learned that very, very early. And that looked like, for me, like some people can say, oh, I'm just gonna have a slice of pizza or 2 slices. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna call Papa John's and get that 2 large, 2 topping for $20. And I'm gonna eat 1 now, and I'm gonna eat 1 in an hour when I'm not completely uncomfortable anymore. And it just became a pattern. Like if I was sad, if I was happy, whatever I was feeling, it didn't have to be a negative emotion. I would just eat it. I would eat it and just eat it and eat it. And then when you eat like that, you don't realize that you're stretching your stomach out. Your capacity is getting bigger every time you do this. So in between those binges, when I just try to eat, I found that it took more and more to get me full. And it just turned into a vicious cycle. And you're like, I don't understand why I'm not, like, I would look at my husband and I'm like, why am I eating more than you? And it's not like he can't pack it away too, but I could eat more than a full grown man outside of my binging episodes. So that's how it got to me. It was just one thing spilled over into the next, and it was just a downward spiral.
Yeah. Alexandra and I were discussing recently, we both had struggled from eating disorders, myself anorexia, and then into bulimia, and Alexandra's bulimia for a very long time. We were talking about how you felt like you were drunk. You could sort of explain it that way. You were almost completely, you felt like you were detached from yourself. I had a roommate that told me before a binge, my eyes would go black and there was no reaching. What was that sensation for you, that feeling for you when you knew that you were about to order the 2 pizzas and you were going to, go in, as some people that will binge will say, right?
That is what it's like. It's like
just
diving
ready.
in.
I'm going in and don't mess with me. Like you would kill someone if they came and tried to like take the rest of the pizza. Walk us through those emotions, those sensations and where you were mentally?
So when I would have those episodes, the best way I could describe it is like you're gonna go visit your best friend who's so dependable and reliable, and they always say the right things and they just make you feel so welcome. And it was just like my safe space, like where I knew in that hour it was just everything was going to be fine. No one was going to bother me. I didn't have to think. I could just feel myself because I felt empty. That's what the feeling was, just this feeling of emptiness. And I would just feel so filled up. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that. I just felt like the food was giving me the attention and the affection that I wasn't getting in other places, and it never turned me down. It never disappointed. It was always available, and it always gave the feeling. It was a consistent, reliable feeling. Like I always knew this is gonna make me better. This is gonna make me feel good. So that's why I ran to it. It was just like that. It was like my best friend. It was
But
so
did it
good
make you feel good, Alishea, if you felt uncomfortable physically, or did that feeling when you woke up the next day after the 7 biscuits and the 7 chicken portions?
So in the beginning, it feels good. In the beginning, you know, with anything in excess, it feels great. But you can't, there comes a point with everyone where you can't deny the side effects. And after, it took a long time. It took many, many years for me to make a correlation between the two. It just didn't feel good anymore. It was just that one time, it just didn't feel good. It always felt good. Well, I'll take that back. Towards like the last 6 to 8 months of it being in that lifestyle, it wasn't fun anymore. It didn't feel good. It felt like a betrayal. It was like, you're supposed to make me feel better, but you're not. Like, I feel really bad. Like, I would have that joy while I was eating, but then when I'm digesting, I don't feel good. And I had never felt that. But it was in that last 6 to 8 months, it was just like, I don't feel good. I had really bad stomach issues. It just didn't feel good to me at that point. But for a long time, it did feel good. And I was completely like the uncomfortable full. I craved that. I didn't run from it. I wanted that. So it wasn't until I started to have, like, it didn't feel good. It just started to not feel good, honestly. It was nothing in my mind. Like, I just woke up and I'm like, this is not feeling like it used to feel. It's not fun anymore. Right. So it didn't always feel that way for me. Like, when I was binging in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, I was younger.
It wasn't working. It worked, like you said, it worked till it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna ask this when I'm jumping ahead, because we know now you're a success story, so you don't do that anymore. But no. What do you do with the feelings? How do you deal with feelings if you don't binge? Because I think that's where people have a lot of fear, subconscious fear, that they're going to have to feel their feelings if they become healthy, and so they're more comfortable being unhealthy, so they don't have to deal with that.
Well, so here's the thing that I have learned with my feelings, and I think this might be a blanket statement that can apply to everyone. Feelings are fickle. They don't last. They're fleeting. And feelings have a tendency to, if you ignore them or push them aside, they only come back louder, stronger, and with like serious. They're like, you're going to pay attention to me. So you have to honor your feelings, because I look at my feelings as an indicator of something else. It's a symptom of a problem. It's not the problem. It's my body's way of telling me that I need to address something. And pushing them down, it doesn't work. I pushed my feelings down for 30 years and it almost killed me. You have to address your feelings. Now how I deal with my feelings now, I do just that. If I'm feeling lonely, I don't turn to food. I turn to human interaction. If I'm feeling anxious, I try to figure out why I'm feeling anxious. If I'm like snacking like crazy, I know I need some water and I probably need a nap because I'm not hungry.
Mhm.
Like I look at the underlying things for everything now rather than just deeming my feelings as a problem. They're not a problem. They're indicators of something that I need to address. And I address them so that I can honor the feeling and the feeling passes. But the feeling starts small. If you ignore it, it's a giant. But if you address it while it's small, you can just push it to the side. It's easy to push to the side when it's small. But when you let it grow, it's a harder thing to tackle. It takes years to address those feelings that are suppressed. But if you address those feelings as they come, you have more success with it.
There is nothing more frustrating than feeling like your body is working against you. Digestive troubles, gut pain, skin issues, constant congestion, yet never knowing what's causing these issues. If that sounds familiar, it's time for you to take our new gut health quiz. In just 3 minutes, you will find out if dairy is behind your symptoms like diarrhea, heartburn, constipation, bloating, acne, or the never-ending mucus. And here's the good news. There is a solution. You don't have to keep living with these symptoms. Take the quiz, get answers, and start feeling like yourself again. Take the 3-minute gut health quiz today at switch4good.org/gut-health-quiz. Again, that's switch4good.org/gut-health-quiz and start feeling better today.
And how did you learn to do that? Because it was very clairvoyant and certainly part of my recovery journey. Maybe we even go back to that next morning where we left off before we kind of dove into the why and the feelings. You did what after the Popeyes experience?
So that feeling was out of control and complete desperation. So when I had that feeling, I'm very feelings driven, just as that's my mechanism. That's how I operate. I operate under my feelings. So my feelings can push me to do great things, but they can also push me to do the worst things to myself, as my past has shown. But when that in particular day, those feelings, I said, okay, I feel this way. I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm just going to take it at breakfast. I'm not going to look at this like I know I have to lose over 100 pounds. I'm just going to try breakfast. Like I woke up that morning, I'm just going to do breakfast different. And that's what I did. I did breakfast different. Rather than 2 croissants and scrambled eggs with cheese and sausage and bacon, I said, I'm going to have 1 hard-boiled egg and some fruit. I don't even know if that's enough. I don't even know if that's right, but I know it's different, so it's got to be better. And I tried that. And then I said, okay, I feel good. I'm not hungry. I'm okay. And then I just I took my desperate feeling and I kept it. I literally kept it in my pocket and kept it with me and just was like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's all I did. And I just let it drive me until I was like, oh, I feel good. And I like this feel good. So I'm not going to go back to that feel bad because this feel good. Oh, this feel good is better than what that feel good was when I was binging.
With the good side effects.
Yes.
Yeah. You must have had missteps. And if you haven't, then you're an enigma to me, where you said, oh, that feels good. But now I'm just kind of doing this, same old, I'm eating really healthy. And I don't know, this isn't giving me much of a high either. I'm putting words in your mouth, but that was me. So when you had those missteps, how were you able to come back to center to just one meal at a time? Take it slow.
Okay. So my journey was crazy. So what I had to do, I had to deal with a lot. I had to deal with my own internal dialogue and then the dialogue of my in-laws and my husband, like negative talk. And see, I dropped the bomb on everybody because this all started in August, and in like Thanksgiving, please people don't ever do this. At Thanksgiving at my in-laws' house in the mountains of Tennessee, I dropped the bomb. I'm going vegan on January 1st.
Oh dear, no.
That didn't, it didn't, like, I got hit with questions. Why? I didn't know why. I don't know. And what is that going to do for you? I have no idea. I was literally standing there like a deer in headlights. And it was just like at those moments, I was like, I cannot keep living my life for y'all because I'm the one that's feeling all this stuff. And I cannot do it anymore. I had tons of missteps. Now, the reason why I decided to switch to a plant-based diet was because, okay, first of all, I watched all the documentaries. I drank the Kool-Aid. I watched What the Health. I watched Forks Over Knives. I watched all of them, Dominion, everything. I watched them all. Scared me to death. I was like, I'm never eating McDonald's again. I went back to McDonald's. Just a sidebar, I did. I said, after watching all those documentaries, I still went to McDonald's. But when I started, I didn't know anything. So remember that.
So just to be clear, you decided you'd take it slow, and you started, you woke up on this morning of August 2017 and said, I'm going to just take it slow. I'm going to make the changes slow. And at some point you decided you were going to go vegan starting January 1st, but you were leading up to that. Okay.
But see, I didn't know that was happening because in August, I just said, I'm going to try to eat healthy. I didn't know what healthy was. I thought goldfish were healthy. I was like, saltines are healthy. You know, I had no idea. I didn't know. So when I started in August, it was literally like a hoarder starting to clean. I was just picking up little things and just throwing them out, just slowly. I was like, well, I know that Little Debbie's are probably not healthy, and Cheesecake Factory is I was through that process of elimination, and I was like, well, I can cut out beef and pork because I don't really like them anyway. So I cut those out. Immediately started feeling lighter, like not so much energy being taken in to digest food. But then that leaves you with a very small amount of food. Now you've just got chicken, eggs, cheese, and other little dairy things. And I was eating the standard vegetables, broccoli, corn, peas, maybe a salad, you know, but I was considering that healthy. And I was eating in extremely restricted small portions. And I was like, as I was going and I was losing weight, and I'm like, but something in me was like, this isn't right though. This like, I've seen Forks Over Knives and I've seen What's the Hell, something's not right. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna do that. I didn't even know what that was. I had never seen anyone live in a plant-based lifestyle. I made many mistakes in that first 4 months. It was bad because I didn't know. Was
it hard? Did you feel deprived, or did you feel, especially because your husband didn't join you and you were cooking for a family of what, 3 kids and
we had 4 kids and
4
him.
kids and him.
Yes.
So, and
I didn't feel deprived because I knew that I was doing this. I knew my why, and my why was really strong. There were some times where there was like a little bit of resentment, like, you know, I just made this cheesecake for y'all and I don't get none. Like there were times where there was that, and those windows, I would say, well, okay, well, I'll have something on a birthday. You know, I would give myself windows where I would allow myself to have some. But I noticed when I did that, it was a minute on my lips, but it was like days of regret. Like I'm like, why did I do that? That didn't feel like, I felt bad afterwards. I felt bad for days. My performance sucked. Like I just wasn't, I'm like, it wasn't worth it. So that feeling like I was being left out went away real fast because I just didn't like what came with it. It just wasn't worth it. So when I did transition in January 2018, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know, I'm like, well, what's vegan protein? And I'm like, I Googled it. I'm like, okay, well, I can do that. And then I'm like, well, I've taken all these things away. So it'd probably be a good idea to add some things. So whenever I'd go to the grocery store, I would just go to the produce section and pick up something that I'd never had before. And then just bring it home and Google a recipe to figure out how to cook it. Like I tried Brussels sprouts and zucchini and eggplant. I tried a bunch of vegetables that I had never tried. And then I started to see, well, hold up, man. There's way more plants than there are meat options. So I'm not really deprived. I'm actually in a much better place. And once I saw that, I was off and running. But like, it took a long time for me to see that. I just didn't know. I didn't know, like, I didn't even venture into these parts of the grocery store to know that these things existed. I was just on the outskirts of the store, and I just kind of, you know, I scurried through the produce section. I never stopped and looked for anything. I'm like, where are the onions? Where are the bell peppers? Where's the garlic? That's all I need. All this other stuff is background noise. And now I'm like, I spend my entire time in the farmer's market and in the produce section.
You also went from a couch potato to exercising most days of the week, which is a lot. And you had 4 kids, and where did you put them? And did they come do it with you?
We gotta back up. We gotta back up because I must say this piece. Okay, I did have a pandemic baby. Okay, so number 5 came in 2020 after I had reached, like, I felt like I had reached my physical peak, and then I got pregnant. I was like, oh, all right, university playing games. So I managed to maintain my plant-based lifestyle through the pregnancy, and I stayed very active. I worked out 6 days a week for all 41 weeks and 6 days of that pregnancy. So what I did, now I had done this a number of times. I had, my husband had got me a membership to a gym. And we basically donated $500 to them because I never used it. And then he canceled it, and he got me another one for our anniversary. And I was like, that's like the worst anniversary gift.
Wait, was this before 2017, or was this when you were on your plan?
This was like before 2017.
Oh, okay. Before your change.
Right. So he got me this second membership at the end of 2016.
Okay.
It was getting ready to expire in August of 2017. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use it now. I'm going to use it. So I went to the gym like everybody, and I just got on the elliptical because it was safe and no one could really see me like struggle. I was like, okay, this is safe. I'm in between things. No one can see me and no one can see me struggle. So I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
I didn't even make it 5 minutes on like no resistance. I was done. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to come back again the next day. So I came back and I slowly built up to like 60 minutes on the elliptical, but I wasn't happy because rapid weight loss without muscle definition underneath it does not look good. You get the skinny fat look, like you've lost a lot of weight, but you're kind of like loose and, you know, it's like, it's just hanging, like everyone knows you've lost a lot of weight, that look. And I didn't like that look. So I switched. I had a friend from high school, random, just messaged me, try these workouts, girl. I was like, okay. So I tried it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do jumping jacks because I've had 4 kids, and I don't know how if you know how that works, but jumping is not in the cards when you've had 5 kids, 4 kids at that point.
Wait, is that, no, Dotsie
We do not know.
We do not know.
Okay, so you cannot do the jumping if you haven't strengthened the pelvic floor.
Yeah,
if the pelvic floor is not secured after having the baby, Niagara Falls. So that wasn't gonna happen. But then I just slowly started. I'm like, okay, well, it had like, I was like, I can do 7 days. So I did 7 days. And then I did 21 days.
And what was this workout though?
So the first workout I did, I tried to do something with Shaun T. No beginner should start there because it wasn't the move. So then I went to a workout.
Is Shaun T a trainer?
Yes, he's a he's a trainer.
Okay.
So then I switched to another program called Clean Week, which had modifications, and it showed me different things that I was at home. That's what I loved about it, because I was brand new to fitness, and the only thing I knew how to do was stand there. And I love that I could learn at home in private with my kids. Yeah. So I didn't have to send them to daycare. They were here. And like a lot of times they would join in too. So once I did that, I leveled up and did another program called 21 Day Fix. Then that's when I fell in love and learned that exercise was not just cardio. That it was okay for me to do body weight training and Pilates, and I could increase my flexibility. And once I finished that program, I canceled my gym membership because I was like, I'm never going back. I can't go back in that place. Because for one, I don't do the gym because I feel like the super fit people look at me like, why are you here? You're wasting time. You don't have your shaker cup in your bag.
That's your head. That's your head talking.
I know it's totally in my head. They are not paying me any attention. I know this because I work out at home all the time and I don't pay attention to anybody around me. Yeah. But this is just was in my mind is my young, trying to be fit mindset. Like I'm like, these people I don't belong.
But it's great because there's a lot of people who are intimidated by the gym and they feel like they can't leave their kids. And you solve that problem by working out with weights and doing cardio in front of videos at home. People go to her Instagram page, like I mentioned in the intro, and you'll see her, Alishea, working out 2 videos a lot of time. And so that's how you made it work with a busy life.
Yes.
But still able to get your workout in. But what did you work out really early in the morning? When were you able to do it? And how long do you now as a rule work out?
Okay. So in the beginning, when I had my gym membership, I had to get used to getting up in the morning, which was hard because I was sleeping until like 3 p.m. before I started this whole thing. I was it was bad. I was just barely becoming conscious to get my kids out of the door to school, and then coming home and then passing out on the couch with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. Like I was not parenting and I was tired. So I had to shift. And when I started thinking I'm going to go to the gym, I had to get up and go before he went to work. So that was like a 5 a.m., 5 in the morning. Now I did that for like less than a year. And then I was so accustomed to getting up that early, I would do it at home. But I had extra time because I didn't have to drive to the gym, wait on equipment, and then account time to get back home. I had the full time. And then I could just jump back into mom life because I was here. So I was doing an hour. That was my standard. It was an hour in the mornings. Now, and that was pretty much my standard back then. I did an hour 5 to 6 days a week for like 3 years, 2-3 years. But now what I do is I kind of break it up. So I'll do a 45-minute workout in the morning, and then I might do something quick, like 20-30 minutes in the afternoon. That's only because my workout has now become my therapy. Like it's where I pour it all out. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, if I'm feeling anxious throughout the pandemic, if I was feeling uncertain, insecure, that's where I would just direct all that energy. So now I'm like,
instead of the 2 pizzas, that's a great trade-off.
About 4, exactly. And it's much more beneficial. So I'm like 45 minutes to an hour 15, hour 20 every day now. Well, 6 days a week. I rest 1 day because, I mean, if my body would let me, I would do it 7 days a week. But my body's like, no, girl, I need 1 day to recover.
Yeah.
Because you really you now enjoy exercise, which is so great. Tell us, how is it one of the things that often stops people from making transformation in their own life is because they don't want to rock the boat with their partner and their family or their coworkers and friends, et cetera. They don't want to stick out, or they don't want to change their relationship with their spouse. There's so many reasons, but a lot of it has to do with fear of how other people are going to react. How did you deal with that? Because your husband isn't vegan, your kids, I don't know, I don't know how they're not vegan, but so you had, there's you, and then there's the other 6 people in your household. Tell us how you work that out emotionally and practically.
I don't want to paint any picture that's easy. It's very, very hard. It requires a high level of determination and almost downright stubbornness to do that. My decision to do this has impacted my relationship and our dynamic in a massive way, but we're still together. Because like I said, it requires stubbornness. I'm stubborn, but so is he. So emotionally,
for the better, or was it tough, or did it actually
touch and go? It's touch and go a lot in that season. So what I will say is, funny thing, we used to watch My 600-Pound Life, and he would comment on how the dynamic of relationships changed when someone made a change. And I was like, so what do you think would happen if that was us? And he was clear. He was like, well, that would never work, but we don't have to worry about that because that's not going to happen. Now, mind you, the wheels were already turning in my mind, like, oh, it's going to happen. I just don't know when I'm going to get it together. But those waters are choppy, but they can be chartered. It takes communication. Making the decision to get healthy, it has to be your decision. It cannot be a decision based on the outside factors. It has to be based on the factors going on in here. Because if you base it on outside influences, it will change like the winds. It has to be internal. And that was what it was for me. I held on to this for dear life with literally my entire family and his family and him literally telling me that I was wrong. But I held on to what I was feeling. I could not listen to what they were assuming and let that negate what I was experiencing. I allowed myself to experience it because I just said I was just going to do this for 30 days. That's all I said. I said I'm going to do it for 30 days. And when day 31, 32, and I felt so good, no one could tell me anything different. That's like someone trying to tell you that the sky is not blue. You don't believe it. So I didn't like their background chatter. I'm like, you're just blind. You don't know. So why I just choose not to listen to you. Now my husband, he knows full well that I've been in this for years. And he's like, you're never going to let that go. And that's okay. And it has changed the dynamic of our relationship because we did bond over our emotional eating and our emotional brokenness. But in those type of relationships, if you can't do it together, someone has to be bold enough, strong enough to decide to do it and be patient enough to wait for the other one to do it. And that's what I've had to do. I've had to be very, very patient and very repetitive in what I've been saying and living in front of him, but it pays off. It's paying off. He's getting it. He's changing. He's trying. He's seeing.
And your kids have reaped the benefits of this lifestyle.
Well, see, my youngest son, my baby, my 1-year-old, he's been my biggest inspiration. Well, let me not say biggest, but my latest inspiration. Because he's my little plant-based partner now. Yeah. I'm like, I grew you in my body on plants, and now you're out here living on plants. See, like I have my little company because I was all alone before. And now everyone's like, oh, you and the baby, you two and your plants. And it's just so it's so inspiring to see him like preferring to snack on celery and sweet potatoes and quinoa versus like you try to give that boy a cookie and he's like, no, I don't want it. And it's just so good to see that. And then my other kids do the same thing. Like I've noticed my two middle girls are loving, like they've switched to almond milk, like just little things that have tweaked in their diets. And I love it. Like they see my food and they're like, that smells really good. Can I try it?
Oh, wow. So people are wondering, or I know I am, it sounds like you're a pretty fantastic cook and you do the cooking. So in the evening, what does this look like? Is this 6 other people? Well, 5, because the baby's on the plan with you. But are you making a bunch of different meals or what's happening?
So the more you cook, the faster you get. That's just science. I don't know why it works that way. It just does. The more you cook, the quicker you get.
Okay, so Alexandra, you and I need to listen to that. That's inspiring because we don't.
No wonder it takes me hours.
No, the more you do it, the faster you get. So what I typically do is I take, like, so whenever I cook for myself, I cook like a lot. So if I'm making my breakfast, I'll make a massive amount of it so that I can eat on it for a couple of days. Or I'll make a chili or a soup in my crock pot or something with lentils, and I'll make massive amounts of it so that I can eat on it for many, many days. And then in the evenings, I'm just freed up to cook their food. I just make them whatever. And a lot of times I do like really simple raw salads for myself with like edamame, chickpeas, quinoa, a bunch of raw veggies. And I make like a Thai peanut dressing, shake it up real quick in a jar. And I just like, that's something that I can eat. And I know that it's nutrient dense, it's got a lot of protein, and it's going to fill me up.
Okay.
And then I can just cook their food. Now, sometimes I'm not that well planned. Like sometimes I'm out of food for me and I've got to cook like 2 different meals, actually like 3, because my kids are super picky. So I'll make something for my kids and then make something for my husband and have to make something for me.
Wow.
In those instances, you have to use the tools at your disposal. Invest in an air fryer. I can throw my food in the air fryer and then I don't have to think about it. And then I can fix their food. And I always plan my meals out to where it's not too time consuming. Like it looks time consuming, but it's really not. Like putting stuff in the oven, sauteing something real quick on the stovetop, cooking some noodles, marinara, just stuff that's really fast to throw together. But like I said, you get quicker the more you do it. Like I'm lightning fast with it because I don't even think, I'm just moving. So that's how I typically do it. Like I invested in an air fryer, I invested in a food processor, a really good high power blender. Like those kitchen tools make it a lot easier to make soups and cook with small space in multiple places and make a lot of food in a short amount of time.
Can you share with us what your food would look like? Like, what's your favorite breakfast and a lunch and a dinner? And also, I know that you have videos where you show people things to cook.
Right.
On your Instagram or where?
Yes, on Instagram.
Cool.
So typically for breakfast, I'll have a tofu scramble. I saute the veggies like spinach or baby kale, onions and peppers, mushrooms. Sometimes I add a little zucchini in there. And sometimes I'll make pancakes. Sometimes I'll have overnight oats for breakfast. I always have a veggie with breakfast. I love to have roasted broccoli or steamed string beans, broccoletti. Those are my favorites for breakfast. For lunch, usually like that salad I was telling you with the edamame and the quinoa and the chickpeas and all kinds of other veggies, I'll have that. Dinner, I usually keep it kind of light. I don't really go, because like at that point, I'm really not hungry anymore. And I don't like to go to bed with that full feeling, probably like a trauma response. I don't like going to bed feeling like I'm stuffed. So I might have a protein shake at night and a small salad, but nothing too heavy at night right before going to bed. And I try to give myself a few hours before I go to sleep. I don't like to go to sleep straight after I eat. I just don't like that, going to bed with that heavy feeling.
I'm interested in what surprised you about this journey, about yourself. I've heard you say there's an aspect where you feel like you've gained a new lens on life, if you will.
The thing that shocked me the most was I always said I couldn't do it. I always said, I can't do that. That was my whole thing. When I would see girls on social media doing all the things, I used to be like, that's great for them, but I can't. And I shocked myself with what I could do when I just tried. And I feel like that's been the biggest thing of myself, is I sold myself short for years. And I never reached my fullest potential because I always said, I just can't. So I won't. And I didn't. And then when I found that I could, like, this crazy, powerful self-awareness, like, what in the world? Why did I, like, it was like I allowed someone to tell me who I was and I believed it, and then I found out it was a lie. Like, that's exactly what it felt like. It just felt like, why did I buy into the lie?
And that's one of the reasons I think you're such an, as people listen to this, they'll be inspired, because a lot of us speak to ourselves in ways that we would never speak to our best friend or children or loved ones, but we don't give ourselves enough credit. You've changed so much, not only as a person. You say you used to have a lot of negative self-talk and you have less of that now, but also your physical, the results from your physical has changed you from when you were in your 20s. Now you're in your mid 30s, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what your physical says.
Oh, okay. So, it's probably a good thing that I didn't look like this in my 20s, because I would have been a problem. I would have been a real problem.
No, that's it. You know what, Alishea? That's exactly probably why, because you were afraid of your own power. A lot of women are like that. Dotsie and I have talked about that. And eating disorders, eating can stuff our power and our feelings and literally our voice, because we're thinking about food all the time. And so anyway, carry on.
True. That's true. Like, I was very, when I was the big girl. That's what my family called me that. They called me Big Leisha. And I was just like, whatever, that's who I am, I remember sitting in the bathroom one day, like, wow, my stomach done locked over. I'm like, that's happening. And I'm like, I'm not pregnant, so there's really no cause for that.
And now I have to say, your abs are very, very impressive.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah, so like that, like, I never thought I could have that. I never thought I could have a muscle anywhere that would be visible by the naked eye.
So now tell us about, like, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your...
Oh, goodness. So I don't have sleep apnea. I haven't had a seizure since I started this whole thing. I remember going to my physical before I got pregnant, but way before I got pregnant. And like a year after I went plant-based, and they ran all my labs, and they were like, they took my blood pressure, and it was the lowest it had ever been in my entire life. And I was like, wow, like, she put it on. Normally, when they would take my blood pressure, they would have to retake it. So I would get it on one arm, and they'd be like, oh, that can't be right. And they try it again. They're like, that can't be right. Well, let me put it on your other arm. Like, they didn't want to believe, because the number was so astronomically high. They would try taking it in different places, and they would say, oh, we'll just take it at the end of the visit. Maybe you're just anxious. This time, she popped the thing on. She took it off so fast. I was like, oh, so did you get it? And she was like, oh, you're fine. And that had never happened to me before. And they ran my blood work, and I had asked my doctor, I was like, can you check like everything? Because I'm starting this new eating habit. I want to make sure I'm okay. Can you check my B12 and everything? He was like, I'll run a full panel on you. We'll check everything. And then I got the results back, and everything was well within normal ranges, like perfectly in them. Everything was great. And the doctor was like, I don't think he recognized me. Because I was like, can you look at the chart and see how much I weighed this time last year? And he was like, sure, like passing, just kind of like humoring me. And he was thumbing through the sheets, and he looked back at today and where we were, and he looked back, and he was like, you lost 100 pounds. I was like, yes. And he's like, well, whatever you've been doing, you keep doing it. And I'm like, well, I'm plant-based. And it was like the heavens shined down on me. He was like, me too. I was like, yes. It was so good. I didn't get like, it was perfect. He was like, don't ever worry about anything. If you just keep eating the way you're eating, keep it well balanced. And you don't have to worry about whether you're getting enough of this or that. It was just perfect. Like that was the first doctor's appointment in my entire life where I wasn't afraid to get on the scale. I didn't have to get my blood pressure checked over and over again. I wasn't ran all across creation to this lab and that lab, getting this checked and that checked. It was literally in and out. And he was like, we can see you in a year or not, either way.
Congratulations. That's so, so wonderful. Tell us, what advice would you give for people who are listening, who want to be like you, want to make the changes, they want to transform, their inner rut? Are there one or two pieces of advice you could give them?
Yes. Number one, don't try to wear the shoes that another woman is wearing because they probably don't feel as good on you. Meaning, just because your friends are trying different trends of eating doesn't mean that that's going to be the perfect fit for you. What you need to do is try anything and everything until you find what's custom made and perfectly fit for you.
Yeah.
Number two, actually, this should be number one. Whatever you decide to do, be patient. You did not get there in a week, in a month, 3 months, or a year. Be patient. It's ever evolving, it's ever changing, and you can tweak it and modify it to fit you at any season you are in life. And above all else, slipping is inevitable. Staying down is a choice. You will slip and stumble, trip and fumble, but you have the power to get back up and keep on trying. Progress is what we are after, not perfection. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So just keep moving forward. You ain't never gonna make it to perfect anyway.
So just know that.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I'm laughing because this is the woman who had no energy. She was crawling up the stairs 5 years ago.
The level of energy.
Great reminder.
Is crazy. I can outrun my kids. I'm up before they are. I'm down after they are. They're literally like, can we go home? I'm like, let's walk to Target.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
You are so emboldening. I tell you, and so much of your advice is so many crossovers in life, not just with weight. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna hear some of that advice in your voice in some challenges that I'm facing this week that really don't have anything to do with what's on my plate.
It applies. Yeah. It literally, when you tamp down this area of your life, your health. So for some people don't have to lose weight. Some people need to get comfortable with eating just a regular or a healthy diet. But when you get control of this box, it's an octopus. It reaches over into all kinds of areas in your life. Like that was one of the big things with my marriage. I found my voice when I found control of this. Like I was always mouthy, but I had an educated mouth now. And I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted. I knew how I wanted it to look. And I was not afraid to say that. And like that's the biggest thing. It's all like it's not, this is a small box, but once a woman or a person figures this out, oh boy.
Watch out.
You can't contain
Alishea's out.
her. Oh, well, we love having you on this show, Alishea. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I love that. That was like, now I really want to go work out now because I'm like, what?
I do too. See you later, guys.